All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Let me go and get this up for everyone. Make sure everyone knows we're live. Welcome in. We have a exciting session today. I think we're going to get a nice IB. And then if we get a good enough IB, I will, after that trade's close, I'll go and take a payout on these My Fund and Futures accounts. Whether that's 500 or I can take the full 10,000, we'll see. Awesome. What's going on? Oh, whose mic was that? Barry, your mic's on. Yeah, it was just a little bit echo. A whole lot of echo, actually. Can you show me how you get your account to show on the bottom of your trade of it? You go into, should be a little plus tab or view settings somewhere in your chart. And then select columns and you can add your account, dollar total, all this stuff, whatever you want to add onto it. And there should be a little plus sign in the bottom left as well for plus tab. What's going on, Giuliano? How you doing? Good morning. Before we cover the IB today, or not the IB, before we cover the pre-market data, Edge Bull, what am I doing? I'm going to do, I don't think it's, I think I may be able to change the time frame. Let's see. If not, then we'll be able to just manually review it, so it's okay. You'll see what I'm getting in here for very shortly. Okay, beautiful. Oh, awesome, it fixed. Sweet. All right, so what I wanted to cover, I do still have a little head cold, so bear with me for today. The voice is going to be a little rough. What's going on, mid-high? Good morning. Do I trade full-time? I do. Good morning, Cephix. Morning, Wyatt. Waldive. Tom Davies, Sasso, Pickus. Good morning. Patrick, good morning. Bob. I haven't seen you for a little bit, Bob. Where you been? Oma, good morning. All right, so for last night, I don't know if anyone happened to catch this. I was bullish into Asia session, mainly because we had a nice consolidation at that 25,000 range. You can use the IB for Asia. You measure it from Glopex open. You can even do it from 8 o'clock open. I prefer to do it from Glopex. You identify the low, you identify the high, so 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock EST, and then you get your retracement down to 50%, the same that you would with the New York IB, London IB. I don't think Asia, I think this would count as Asia. I don't think I would go and measure another one from Asia Open. So in this case, it would look like that. We had the low form first. Excuse me, low form first into the high, retrace down to 25.87, and then you get a nice 20-point pop, 30-point pop. So it still worked either way, but the more important one that you would use is that Glopex open. And that's exactly what we got last night. Couldn't really have been any better than it was. 120 from Apex still. So you have your low into the high, retrace down to 50% at about 7:30. And then your 7:30, 7:45 candle was the one that broke the high. And this was about 30 points. So it's not a very wide range that you can trade. So you can size up into this. Same exact concept. So if anyone has interest in playing that IB for Asia session for Glopex, feel free to tag along in it. Missed a few days. Happy to have you back, Bob. I was unfortunately not sitting at my desk, or else I would have taken this last night. But that's typically what I do for Asia session, Glopex open. I also look for what is the overall trend. So if you have a pretty strong opening 30 to 45 minutes, you can take longs. Last night we had a doji for the first 30 minutes. And then the IB, we started to take off there a little bit. This IB range was only 60 points, so not very big. And then that's your trend. I wouldn't go and play it for London Open. I'm not obviously awake during that time, but you can go and do the same thing for London. I think London opens at 3. So we can get our low right there. London high at the 315 candle, drag it out to the right. IB's formed at 4, which is your 345 candle because it starts at 345, ends at 4. You get your retracement down to 50% at 4, and then you get your long exit at 5:30 in the morning. So this one would have been quite a long trade. I probably would have secured it at that wick high at 4 a.m., but again, I'm not up during that time. So just some more trades for you guys to go and take if you like the IB. Excuse me, if you like the IB. Remove. I was a big fan of this one last night. Granted, I didn't trade it. IB for Asia. Yeah, I would include it in. You can do the IB for Asia Open, which would be 8. And you do the 8 to 9. It still worked either way. So you have your 8 o'clock candle right here. That's your low. And then your high was formed at 8:45. Drag it out to the right. You get your retracement down at 9:15. And you had the IB break at 9:30, 9:45. And you can do it for every session. I prefer just doing it with the Glopex Open. The Glopex into Asia Open, that trend usually stays the same. Very rarely have I seen it shift up and kind of inverse what you're doing. How are the stats for Glopex and London IB? Are they similar to New York? I'm not entirely sure how to go and find it on Itchful. I know you can go to you can change the range that you're looking at, but I'm honestly not entirely sure how to go about getting it. So I don't have the actual stats, but it does work. I'm assuming it's probably pretty similar to how the New York one opens and closes. Good morning, Juliana. How you doing? Pit T. Good morning. Allie, Oma. Good morning. Welcome in, everyone. So going into today, we do have an outside bar. And I don't think this gap down, or gap up rather, is probably going to fill down too much. We do have a lot of bullish momentum going into open. Granted, we do still have 19 minutes to open, but we are currently in the third bracket, which this one doesn't really offer much of a bias. It's pretty close to 50-50. With this gap up, we have a 65% chance of not filling it. SPY also has a pretty similar gap, 0.48, so it's at least lined up for one of the first times this week. Good morning, Sam. How you doing? Do you size up when the range is small, especially in Asia session? I usually do 2 micros, yeah. 2 MNQ. Some I did up to 4 one time, but granted the IB was like 15 points, I think. So my stop loss was like $110 or $120. It wasn't very much. But those ones I agree, it's not really worth it. If you're gonna go in with 1 micro and the IB break is 15 points, it's not really worth it to only make $30. Same concept, same one-to-one, so thank you, Tyree. Good morning. Going back to our gaps, SPY and Qs finally lined up for the first time all week. 67% chance that we fill the gap. Don't fill the gap, sorry. 67% chance that we don't fill the gap for pretty much both of them. 65, 67, same thing. So I will not be expecting downside to the gap fill, but what I will be looking for, and we usually have this for the outside bar stat, outside days, we have, with it being a bullish day, we have a 62% chance for a reversal back down. Now, none of these odds, none of these percentages, they're not overwhelmingly significant. I typically like looking for an inside bar, for example. I really like seeing this at 82%. Not really all that inclined to take shorts if we have 62% into open. Obviously, we're not going to trade the 15-minute opening candle anyway, but the thesis, not all that significant. It's 2 stacked 60% data points as opposed to stacking 2 80% or 90% even. So for today, I think we could get a pullback down to previous day's high. It really depends on what we want to have come in for the opening data as well, because I believe we do have 2 sets of data points as well as some speakers. Actually, just 3 speakers today. Sorry, misspoke there. I thought we had FOMC, not FOMC minutes. I thought we had like the Fed Beige book or something. I swear I saw that earlier. So just speakers today. Probably no increased volatility. The VIX is back down to 19. So that's a good starting point for us. Then going back over to Qs, I didn't see any news on this move last night. Gold is also up. So everything, I think this is just an organic move to the upside. Now, it could have been State of the Union. It could have been tariff news, something that I missed, but I don't think that we had any significant news for today. I think this is just a nice move up. Outside day reversal targets previous day's high. Correct. Yes, Mark. Yes, correct. So I'm going to be looking for maybe London 50, but honestly not all that convinced that we get a pullback into open. We do have 15 minutes, so if this gap down gets somehow into that second bracket, 0.2 to 0.39, then that drastically changes up what we're looking for. Then that has a 60% chance of filling as opposed to a 65% chance of not filling, and that's for both SPY and Qs. SPY, get rid of that tab, I don't need it. SPY will be a 62% chance of filling as opposed to a 67% chance of not filling. So that's with, this needs to hold over 0.4 or higher for us to validate that. And that's all we're going to have to wait for to open. There is our previous day's range right there. Previous day's high during regular trading hours is right at 345. And then our London 50 is right there. We also have 689 support, 689.40. That is the high that we made Friday, February 20th. That held for the entire day, also held on Monday. We didn't revisit it yesterday, but now that we're over it, you can see that we did bounce off it a little bit during pre-market. So we do have a lot of support to the downside to catch us. At 689.40, we have London 50 just below that. We have previous day's high, we have London low, and then not really much below that. Excuse me. Do I ever use a fixed dollar risk? Not really. I used to. I used to risk $100, but using a fixed dollar risk, I would say I still kind of do because I manipulate what I'm going to trade using MES and MNQ. For a point of reference, one MES contract is about one half the risk of one full MNQ contract. So for most days, if you want to risk $100, let's say, and the IB range is 100 points, that's 50 points from the 50. That's your $100 risk. On that same trade, MES would typically risk about 25, not 25, sorry, typically risk 10 points, so $50. Yesterday was lined up almost perfectly for one half, actually. So the range from yesterday's IB was, we had the low at 6856. We had the high form right there. So this range was 6861 to 6894. So 33 points, 32 points, which is $120 per. No, that doesn't sound right. What is it? $160 per. Sorry. And then for MNQ from yesterday, which I deleted it on accident. For MNQ, our IB range, so that was on one MES contract, would have been $180, $160. So that means we should be anticipating probably a 80 point at the very least. So this one from yesterday was, where is it? 24,850 to 25,060. So 150 points, $300 risk. Like a $310 risk on one micro for MNQ yesterday. And that same risk on MES was 160. So it's about, on any given day, it's usually half the risk to go in with MES. And that's why you guys will find me trading the MES IB as opposed to the MNQ IB. It all comes down to what I'm willing to risk. I don't really want to go and trade the IB on MNQ if I'm going to be risking $350 per one micro. I'd much rather go and do two MES contracts or one MES and then add another one in if it dips a little bit below the IB 50. So that's how I cut my risk down for trades. And then also that's the best way that you can try to risk the same dollar amount. Now, going back to your question, do I risk a fixed dollar amount? I used to, and it wasn't beneficial because the market's different every day. The ranges are different. The volatility is different. The VIX is up, it's down any given day. So risking $100 on Thursday last week, for example, probably okay. You won't get faked out of a trade. Whereas risking $100 on Friday or risking $100 yesterday, you're probably going to get stopped out of your position prior to it running in the direction that you were hoping for. So that's why I don't use a fixed dollar amount anymore. On the flip side of that, I do like looking for trailing the stop loss up $100 behind. That's what I typically do. Mainly because these are the accounts I've been trading as of recently have all had trailing intraday drawdown on them. I am about $400 away. So if we have a good IB today, I'll get out of the buffer and the drawdown will no longer trail on these accounts. For going over to Qs, that's 50 points trailing it behind. Those are very often that you get wicked out. It's very often you get wicked out 50 points in the recent market anyway. It used to not be that case, but for yesterday, for example, let's say I had entered right at like 24,910, 24,920. We had a 100-point wick down in 15 minutes. And I bet this is probably even less if I go down to the 5-minute time frame. It's probably a 100-point 5-minute candle, 10 minutes. So a 100-point wick in 10 minutes. If you get a bad entry, that's a $200 stop, or you trail it to break even, whatever it is. This is Sud here, watching from India. Welcome in. Thank you for the IB Live, of course. Yeah, where is everyone tuning in for today? Bob, you're somewhere in Europe. I know that. Mahadi, for whatever reason, I'm guessing you're in New York. R2, you're in Australia. Rolo, you're in Australia. Oh, no, Singapore. Miss me? Philippines, damn it. You have the same time frame as Rolo. It threw me off. I remember you said it last week. Missouri, Spain, Netherlands, Greece, Sweden, New Jersey, Puerto Vallarta, Virginia, Palm Beach, Florida, Spain, New Jersey, California, San Diego, India, Indiana, Canada, Nevada, Malaysia, Alabama. No one from Maine. Ohio from Bear. Illinois, Houston. Wow. Quite the reach, huh? Uzbekistan, Scotland. Wow. That is quite the reach. Florida, Chicago, UK, Great Britain, Virginia. All right, we have 6 minutes to open. It looks like we managed to wick back up. So we are over just barely the 0.4. Now, this is pretty important going into open. We do have 5 minutes left. This tenth of a percent, or 100th of a percent rather, changes our plan into open pretty significantly. As you can see, a 0.39 or less is a 62% chance that we fill the gap. And you guys can get the gap by going on to Qs or SPY and looking in the bottom right-hand corner. And you see it says plus 2.74, plus 0.4%. Same with Qs, 0.49. These are your gaps for the day. Any given stock, that's how I go about getting the gap. So 0.4%, we have 4 minutes and 50 seconds. If this moves up by a hundredth of a percent, it is a 30% chance difference. 30% shift in what we're looking for. So we want it to hold over 0.4. That way we can have maintained upside. Again, not really all that confident in playing the outside bar stat because it's only 60-ish, 62% on Qs. It's a lot better on SPY. So previous day's high, especially if it's 0.39, then I'm more so leaning towards that fill down to previous day's high. If it's over 0.39, then we'll see. Good internet day on Uzbekistan. Yeah, maybe everyone's using Starlink in here. I know one person from Mongolia is watching, but he's not good at English. Probably didn't even get what you said. Huh. Does he just take the entry on the IB? Is that it? Morning, the Rao. How you doing? Rio. Brazil. That's crazy. What a reach. All right, 0.39 again. So again, if it's 0.39 or less, we're looking for the outside bar stat. Really, there's no significant bias going to open. It's two 60% stats that we're looking at. Uh, it's a little more likely, I think, if it's opened at 0.39. So there is a giveaway today, right? There should be. Yes, I got to reach out to. Let me reach out to Sabine. Will we be giving away? I just asked, so it might be. Regardless, I will be later today at market close. I'm going to be giving away 10 of the Lucid Flex accounts. So that will be at market close. There we go. We pushed up 0.42 now. So it's a little less likely that we get that pullback down. And again, the reason being gap fill by size. We can see the pretty vast difference between a fill if it's gapped up at 0.39. If we gap up where we are right now, 0.4 or above, then it is a 67% chance that we do not fill this gap, as opposed to a 62% chance that we do. So we want to be seeing this hold where it is right now. Qs is also getting some more strength. We'll see. I missed what the other part of your question was, Ali. Good morning, stock fudge. It's funny. Well, if you're not here, it's going to be for everyone that's in premium Roland. So I'm going to do just a random. It's going to pick two people randomly from the WAP, and then I'll tag everyone at 4 o'clock today. Yeah, 15 seconds to go. It looks like we should. I mean, I guess it's never too late. We're at 0.41, so it's going to be close. 0.4, 0.41, 0.42. Open with the 0.41 gap. So we are just barely over the threshold, 0.4 to 0.69. 67% chance that this gap does not fill. So I will be more likely anticipating upside today. 692 would be a good target, 692.30. That is a resistance from back here at the beginning of February. That is, I think, our opening high for the month, February 6th. And then we had a lot of resistance in that range. All in all, so I don't usually do higher time frame analysis, but we desperately need to get out of this mess. Since September of last year, so going on 6 months now, the end of this week will be 6 months that we have been essentially within the same 20-point range on SPY for 6 months now. So once we can get over, we need to get over 696. That's our just below all-time highs. If we can get over that, then we are going to have a very lucrative, I imagine we're going to have a very lucrative summer, March into end of the summer, probably August. news bearing, obviously. I chart on SPY and Qs because there's no slippage. No slippage. I do apologize for the voice today, the coughs, sniffles. Hopefully, this head cold will pass. Not a very aggressive opening. The good news for today is that we finally have SPY and Qs lining up for the first time all week. Granted, it's only been 3 days, but Monday, SPY was in free fall. Qs was showing some strength, which is why we took the IB shorts on Qs. SPY just dumped. They didn't even have an opening. It didn't even have a green candle for the first hour and a half of market. Q's second candle was green. SPY obviously was not. Same exact thing yesterday. Go review that. Q's had a lot of strength in open. SPY went and took previous day's low. Q's held up pretty well at its open 602. And then they lined up into the afternoon at least. But it wasn't really until 10:15 that SPY started showing strength with Q's. But now we finally have, SPY is still a little weaker, but we do have them lining up at the very least. That's good. Now, I want to, going into the next hour, because we don't have any hard data points, we don't have any T1 news, really no news in general. I want to see it close over London high. As long as we don't get a sweep here, I want to see it close over London high, retest London high, and then we're going to go up to 692.30. But again, we have no significant bias for today. It's kind of a mess on both stats. We have a 67% chance of not filling the gap, but we also have a 73% chance of reversing back down and hitting previous day's high. So a little bit of a mess there. No lining up of data points, unfortunately. 613, that's a $2 opening candle on Qs. SPY is lagging significantly. And then for our IB today, we're on a Wednesday, we can take both of these. You guys remember last week we had the high form first, and we inversed it 2 weeks ago, actually. That was on a Wednesday that I unfortunately did not get my fill, and I cried all the way home. It wasn't that Tuesday, no. Right here, Wednesday, February 11th. If you remember, we talked about entering longs 10 points above what the IB low was, because the IB high formed first into the IB low, meaning that we were anticipating the first break to be the IB low. And this stat was sitting at about 90%. Now that we had no break, it reset the stat back down to 76, so we can take both of them. But this was a pretty painful miss. That was like a 240-point move up, and that was just to the IB 50. The entire move up from that low ended up being like 420 points. That was a very sad miss. Very, very sad miss. Oh, excuse me. Bill Peterson coming in from Montreal. Welcome in. Bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Not too exciting for especially an opening 5-minute. What we can go do though, if anyone wants that Tesla conversion for open. First opening candle was green. Very strong green, might I add. So we want to inverse whatever this candle is. I'd like to see it close red and continue the long trend, but we shall see. If this closes green, then you short it, and your stop loss would be 420.34, and your take profit would be wherever you're green. If it closes red, then inverse it and go long again. I did really, really well for 2025, Tyree. Ended up closing the year at, I want to say 73% year to date, 72, 73%. I peaked at like 130% last year. And then it just, end of the year, tailed way down. And I'm still in those positions. So I'm in a little bit of drawdown now, but should recover just fine. Just joined. You might have already went over this, but is today's gap below one of your faves still? No, it's a mixed data point for today. So we gapped up 0.4%, meaning we have a 67% chance of not filling it. But we have the outside bar stat that tells us we have a 73% chance of going down and hitting previous day's high, which is down to 609, just about. Do I look for the second candle on Tesla to decide? I do, yeah. So if this closes red, I think this would be a good long opportunity. If it closes green, then you would go short, and your stop loss would be below 420 or above 420.36. If it does close red, the stop loss should technically be where the wick low was of this candle. So it's a little difficult if it has this strong of a trend to open. IB works on stocks too. Sure does. Sure does. Trading options on the stocks is a little tricky because you have theta decay that's present. So you can't really, I don't really have that good of an example of it. Friday would have been a good example. So on, especially if you're trading 0 day till expiration contracts, the IB entry on Friday was right at 10:33. If you're waiting for the IB high to break, you were in that trade, especially with a 0 DTE contract, you were in that trade for 5 hours with theta decay hitting you the entire time. So 10:33 all the way until about 2:30, 2:15, 2:30 is when it broke. So not quite 5 hours, 4 hours, but still it's 4 hours on a 0 DTE contract. That probably puts you at just barely break even by the time it goes and hits the IB high. So not a very good risk reward on options, I'd say. But you can definitely do it with like Tesla. Nvidia works pretty well. We can go and review Nvidia from yesterday. Where is that IB? There we go. So in Nvidia's IB, we had the high form for never mind. It completely inversed it. Tuesday would have been a loss on Nvidia. Bad example. Bad example. Monday was a win. High form first into the low. Actually, did I look at that wrong? No, never mind. It would have been a win yesterday. We formed a new IB high at 10:25. I will be right back in 1 minute. I gotta go blow my nose here real quick. Sorry about that. SMT on the high. There's always SMT. SPY is still so much weaker than Q's. Also, I don't know why the top price trading view is being a little weird right now. So that candle closed green. You would go short on Tesla with your stop loss at 420.36. It already yielded like a $2 drop right there. So I don't know what the percent gain on that would have been. Probably 20%, 10 to 20%. I don't know why. Usually the price updates at the top of the screen. Let's see if I refresh if that works. No, it is not. I don't know if you guys can see at the top. I usually look at the bar of the tab, and that will show me price updating real time. That's how I monitor it between SPY and Qs. Even in the right hand, though, you can see this price isn't updating. Is it the same for anyone else? Usually these all update. This is showing the opening price right now. We open on both of them. So it's not working for you? Yeah, mine's in the same spot too. So it's not just me. That's weird. So trading views down a little bit. Having a little issue. It's a pretty good drop on Tesla. I don't let's go see. I'll go and look at the option chain. Also, we can try this. Let's try this in the YouTube chat. Where are my lives? Should be able to hop in my live. There we go. So I believe if I do. Oh, maybe I didn't get Nightbot set up. I'll have to go fix that. And there is your representation of how that opening strategy works on Tesla. So you have your opening candle, 5-minute opening candle green, second candle's green, so you short the third candle. If the second candle was red, then you would have gone long. But this is now coming up on $3 drop from the high. Your entry would have been probably 419 on the dot. So that's where that third candle opened. I used to do this. I discovered this strategy way back when Tesla was trading at $170 a share in April of 2024. I used to do this with 50 contracts on Fridays. The contracts used to be like, I know why, you probably remember that. The contracts used to be like $40 to $50. And for example, on this one, this would have yielded, the contract would have gone from that 40 or 50 up to 120 or 130. So it was like a 200%, 300% play in a couple of minutes. And it was very reliable for Fridays. I'm a little confused with how weak SPY is. Because Qs, look at the strength of the opening candle in Qs, and we have we're barely over London high. Qs is a full $3 over London high now. Where do you exit at 50%? How do you determine the TP for that Tesla trade? You just, secure it when you want. There's no hard TP to it. I never had a hard TP. It's not like you go and target the low or the opening move or whatever. That drop right there, that's your play. So that third 5-minute candle, that $3 drop it just had, that should correlate to, even on weekly contracts, if you bought Friday expiration, that should correlate to like 30%, 40%. So if you put $100 in, that's 130, 140 out, which is pretty damn good. It's very odd. Very odd open right now. What we want to see for Qs, we very easily form the IB low first. We have a 70% chance of going to the IB high. So we want to see price come right back down and then go up. We do still, I mean, it's 45 minutes till the IB's form. We have more than enough time for a pullback. More than enough time. We don't have a previous day's high draw. We don't have well, I mean, we technically do. We have a draw down to previous day's high, but it's not like the inside bar from yesterday. Also, I think shoot, who asked this yesterday? Someone asked about the inside bar, Rafshan maybe, or R2. The longer you're within the inside bar, which we've been in the same one since Friday, Monday and Tuesday both close within Friday's range. The longer you're within an inside bar, the more explosive your move out of it is, which is what we're getting right now. We're finally over Friday's high. We had to close over Friday's high with that opening candle. That's our explosion to the upside. So maybe if I was a better trader, I could have taken longs right there at that 9 o'clock retest of it, 9:15 retest, and capitalize on this. Maybe, just maybe. We go to the 24 hours, a little easier to see. Friday's range, high was 610, low was 599. Just about. We had Monday close within it, Tuesday close within it. Now we're getting the break today. Unless this happens to wick all the way back down, this should be a pretty bullish couple of days to end the week anyway. My main worry for today is that with how weak SPY is right now, this is only $1.50 up on SPY. This is barely tagging along with Qs. So if we get that pullback to 50%, SPY might pull back too far and take a new IB low. That's my worry. I enter up to like 7 to 10 minutes before the IB has formed. What time do you mark London IB? I don't trade the London IB, but it would be from whatever the London Open is, so 3 or 3:30. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's 3. I just asked this yesterday. I feel silly. I believe it's 3 to 4 o'clock is the IB range for London. So that little tiny range right there. We zoom way into it. Stop refreshing. Stop it. It's auto refreshing now. The price is pushing up. I don't think I'm gonna. You get the point. So it's the lows right there at 3. The high was made at 3:15. You got your 50% retest at 4, and then it broke at 5:30. So that's your London IB break right there, and that one was 27 points. So that's one that you could definitely go in with 2 M and Q, 3 MES even. $25,300. Quite the explosive break over 25. That was all that consolidation from yesterday's close. Oh, there we go. Trading views updating now. Short on Tesla would have been phenomenal. So you try to catch the pullback ever today, playing against the trend. I'm not going to short wall dive. I'm looking for the pullback to go long into. Same exact thing we did yesterday. If we don't get a pullback, then there's no trade, unfortunately. Yesterday, we never get a pullback in our time frame to execute anyway. I'm so sorry about the nasally voice today. So I'm going to be looking for, hopefully we get a pullback down. Not really I mean, the only entry model I think we could have had is a long at Friday's high, 610 in a perfect world. Isn't 5 rapid count? Yeah, 5 funded is the max. You can have up to 10 though. The bottom one's an eval. These 5 are funded. The top 5 are funded. The bottom one's an eval. Never play against the trend. Hopefully, you guys learned a new trading strategy today. I really need to start taking this again. What am I doing? It did not work yesterday, but your stop loss is the high, the wick high of that second 5-minute candle. So the opening candle 9:30, you would go short at 401.81, and then your stop loss was at 402.50. So it's not a very large risk. It's very easy to play. All right, pull back for us, please. TradingView is being extremely slow today. This is not updating at all. What's the name of the strat? You can name it whatever you want. It does not. I never gave it a name. The Tesla inversion. I don't know. Name it whatever you want. The IB indicator comes with your Edgeful subscription. You get access to all of the Edgeful indicators for any data report that you want to use. So if I want to use the order block report, that shows me where all the order blocks are automatically. And as you can see, we do have all that resistance up at 617. So you can have whatever indicator you want. They have a whole bunch of them on here. I believe with the addition of these 3, there's like 47, 46, 47. Don't you have to wait for the first hour to pass before putting on a trade? Yeah, but I mean, we still want to see a pullback. We don't want it to just continue pushing up and then get a little tiny pullback and then go long into. Takes time for price to move down. NQ is strong because it's NVIDIA earnings, so AI stocks are pumping. I think we actually had this move up, not off of NVIDIA for the first time in ever. Meta partnered with AMD yesterday. So AMD had a 15% move up, I think. 197 up to, what was that bar? Closed the day at 10%, but it was 197 up to 227 for the high. And now that's kind of leaked over to Avgo. Maybe it is from NVIDIA earnings. I know NVIDIA's up quite a bit today. Earnings are after hours. Earnings usually come out at, because of how significant NVIDIA is, the earnings will probably come out at like 5 to 5:30, maybe a little bit later. They don't want people trading futures while NVIDIA is reporting earnings. On a day like today with a gap between regular trading hours yesterday's close and regular trading hours open, do you use the electronic hours data or the real trading hour, regular trading hours? I always use the extended session, so I don't really care. If you go to the daily, then you see those gaps. And then this looks like just a gap and go type day. I use the 15-minute with extended sessions on because we don't technically have a gap. Price traded up all night. The only gaps that are significant are the ones that have, let's see if I can find one real quick. It's a gap between previous day's session and London Open right here. So these are the gaps that need to fill. This was a gap from Friday's close into Monday's open, and we filled that at Wednesday's open, January 21st. Those are the ones that need to fill. The ones that don't need to fill are these regular trading hours gaps. What's going on, Schloke? How you doing? Does the Edgewell IB report show that price rarely retraces the 0.25 of the IB range? AKA, how do you feel about placing your stop loss at that 0.25 versus the other side of the IB range? I set my stop at the IB low because that's ultimately where it gets invalidated. I've had maybe 15 minutes not going to do me, or 24 hours not going to help there. We had one not too long ago where we took a short right here. So this IB, we entered longs at the 50% retest. We were in, I don't know, $300 a drawdown before it went broke. So we entered right at like 600, and that was 25% of the IB. So the IB is invalidated if the IB low or the IB high breaks, depending on if you're long or short. So in this case, because the IB low from first into the high, we're targeting the high. This entry, that's almost at 25%. So you're invalidated before the trade is technically invalidated. SPY's at 50%. SPY might screw us today. I hope it doesn't, but it might. SPY is extremely weak right now, and Q's is just ripping. It's kind of ridiculous. We might end up taking the trade on SPY. SPY also, I don't know why. The range on Q's right now is 200 points. The range on MES is like maybe 20. It's not even 20 points. It's 19 points for a range on SPY. And that 19 points for the entire IB, by the way. So that means if we get an entry at 50%, we're going to make 8.5 points on the IB for SPY. Q's is 200 points. So that's a $200 trade from 50%. $200 versus making $40 on one MES. That's usually not the case. MES is usually half of what MNQ is for the IB. Did some back testing. Notice a lot of the L's reached 50% of TP first before falling. Thinking of partials. That's another reason that I secure the trade before it hits the IB high. And it's not a bad thing to do. I know it's a very big controversial topic in the space, is letting your trades run to full TP versus letting them run to full stop loss. If you make $200 in 4 minutes, which that happened 3 times last week for us, we made even happened this week too. Monday we were up 160 in maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes. On Friday we were up, on SPY anyway, we were up 140. This IB that we took on Friday, entry was right at 1033. We were up 180 in like 7 minutes. Are you going to risk the entire 180 that you were up, targeting another like $20 in profit? Probably not. So I don't mind. And the win rate of the strategy is so high that you don't really need to be greedy about the profits. If we enter 50% at SPY today, I'll probably let it run to full TP because the range is puny. The range is 19 points right now. So I'll let it run to full TP or full stop loss. That's a $40 risk per micro. QQQ, Friday, same exact thing. This one would have been like $280 in 4 minutes or 5 minutes. Even though you still had another $100 on the table, I'm not going to be too greedy about that. I almost never take partials because more often than not, if you enter a trade, and this happens for everyone that I know that takes partials on trades, your runners will run maybe 10% of the time, 20% of the time. Those runners typically get stopped at break even. Yesterday, I guess a bad example of it, but yesterday you would have been holding that runner all the way until close, and you wouldn't have netted any more profit than you would have at that 10-15 close. Monday would have been a good day to hold runners. Friday, not so much. Friday, you would have been stopped out at break even. Same thing with Thursday. Same exact thing with Wednesday. Same exact thing with Tuesday. We were in a short on Tuesday. Let's say you secure one out of two contracts, you get stopped at break even on the last one. ES back in 50%. We still have another 20 minutes before we get into the trade for the IB. I'm not really, I have no interest in taking it on SPY today. You guys see how small this range is? I think any sizable pullback on Qs right now, if we get a move down to 613, SPY is 100% going to take a new IB low. No doubt in my mind. I trade the same way regardless of the account. The only difference is I size up a little bit more on the evals. There you go, rolling. You want to request that 700? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. It's snowing again. Come on. Journey to profits. We might see a drop on NQ. My worry is that if NQ pulls back at all, it's going to slash SPY right through the IB low. It's going to drop through. I mean, SPY is making a comically small range today. That's what you get for making fun of me for dealing with the blizzard. I wasn't making fun of you. I was asking you. I mean, it kind of sucks for you. You bought a 7-day cruise. You stay in port for 2 days. Now you only have a 5-day cruise. I know you said it was free, but still. We got like 2 inches yesterday, maybe 3. Yeah, good idea. Get another request from Elite Live. Do it. Snow is life. I'm from Maine. Schloke. I live in Maine. This is exactly what I did not want to see on SPY. I might still take the trade on Qs today, even if SPY goes and takes a new low, because SPY is just so weak this week. Qs, if we can get a pullback to 50%, that's going to be a 100-point trade to the upside. But SPY is definitely going to go and take a new IB low if Qs pulls back. I don't know why the range is so small. Do you expect a limited continuation on the Ivy High play given it's an outside day? I mean, it's not necessarily the outside day. It's the fact that Q's is up $5 right now. It's at 6:15.37. It's up $5 from open. SPY is up maybe 40 cents from where it opened. And the issue is that I do not take the trade if SPY and Q's don't line up. But SPY all week has been it's been lagging behind. It's been so weak. Monday, free fall all day on SPY. Qs didn't really participate. Yesterday, Qs was strong all morning. SPY caught up at 10 to 15. And then today, this is just brutal. We don't have. SPY is going to go take a new IB low right here, but this is the pullback that we wanted on Qs to go along with. So it's going to be a little tricky to see. The only thing that we could do is kind of call BS on SPY breaking the high or the low. The IB high forming first on SPY has a 77% chance of hitting. Qs for the IB low, since it formed first, has a 78% chance of going to break to the upside. So they're both really strong stats. Maybe if we get lucky, SPY does something like this while Qs pulls back and then goes up, but I don't know. If Dow sells off and NQ rallies, yes, we'll be caught in the middle. Yeah, it's really weird right now. Speaking of, look at that short on Tesla. Still going. IWM's targeting to the downside. See the Dow. I'll go to YM. YM also targeting the low, looks like. Even though it's delayed, I don't think it's bounced up yet. So weird. Another reason I don't even want to take it on SPY is look at what our potential return would be. I'm not going to go in with like 5 MES contracts because it could very easily go and break the low. It's very weak right now, but this is it's 45 points for a return on this trade. That's what your risk reward is. 45. Not 45 points, sorry, $45. So either make $45 or you lose $45. If you go in with 2 micros, 90, 90, 3, 135, 135, so on. What about the outside bar stat? Thinking to go all the way back down towards yesterday's high. I mean, if it does, then I don't know. It's a weird day today. It's very messy. Two micros would be SPY's about to go and take a new IB low right here. I feel it. 2 micros wouldn't be bad, but I don't find comfort in calling BS on which IB is going to break. We have seen it a couple times where SPY has taken the IB low and then Qs has taken the IB high and vice versa. So today might be one of those days. Question on Tesla: if it was opposite a down bar, then where would be the upper target? Just still up. The Tesla trade doesn't have a lot of structure to it, unfortunately. Your trade is that you're just inversing whatever that second 5-minute candle is. If the opening candle is green, if the opening candle is red, you just inverse the 5-minute opening candle. With those options, you don't need to be holding it for a 200, 300, 400% play. This drop, even on the third 5-minute candle, this is a $3 drop, probably 30 to 40% for yield. If you held it for this entire time, then you're going to be up probably 150 to 200%. Pull back a little bit more for me, Qs. We're going to walk a very, very tight line here. If SPY somehow manages to hold this IB low and doesn't go lower, and Qs can pull back for us, we will still take the IB high on Qs. We do have 19 minutes left. We'll see. This is not a very good setup today. Everyone in chat, you can type a 1 in chat if you agree. Everyone in chat should agree with the fact that this is a very shitty setup for today. Can't think of what word I wanted to use there, but it's not very good. I don't know. I have no idea why SPY is not moving at all. I'm looking through the set. I'll pull this up on this screen as well. SPY's heat map. The sectors are all lit up pretty well. Maybe it's healthcare that's dragging it down, but look at the overwhelmingly green tech and financial sector. But if you're just looking at this from, okay, yeah, there's a lot of red on the right side of the chart. 2/3 of this chart is screaming green. And the other 1/3 is, it is deep red. But this should, and that's why Qs is pushing up as much as it is. This green is weighted much larger than the red that we see over here. And not only is it weighted larger, but you have Avgo that's up almost 3%. You have Microsoft almost up 2%, 4% Oracle, 0.5%, almost 2% on Nvidia. So I don't know what. It's kind of working. SPY's holding and Qs is pulling back, even though TradingView isn't really updating that well. Because it knew Freedom Trader wanted to pass this even. Yeah. Offered you a terrible setup to trade today. Yeah, NQ David. Hopefully I said that right. NQ 15-minute orb worked beautifully today. If you just took, longs in general and NQ worked beautifully, but identifying that Qs was going to be strong as opposed to SPY, especially with the heat map reading as it is, it's a really tricky thing to do. And I always look at what SPY and Qs are doing, because in most days you have them line up. I mean, these are almost the same charts from yesterday. Kind of are the same charts from yesterday. Most days you have them line up, but not today. It's been a pretty crappy week for them to diverge anyway. But we might, if we can get lucky in the next 15 minutes somehow, if just Nvidia pulls down and then all the other stocks on that heat map push up, maybe SPY will hold for us. I have no idea. The red dot next to the symbol description at the top of your screen says data issue. I've never seen that before either. What the heck? No real-time data for daily based intervals. Our techs are investigating the issue with high priority. As a workaround, please switch to an intraday. It wants me to monitor this chart on the 24-hour time frame. Are you kidding me? That's all that's updating is the 24-hour time frame. Question for all you guys in here as well. Oh, you're real close, Freedom Trader. 500 off. Don't let it slip this time. Question for everyone in here. Have you seen, as I think I've seen this in the past couple of weeks, I have seen more outages from TradingView and Tradeovate in the past like 2 to 3 weeks than I have in the past 3 years. And I don't know if it's because more people are trading on Tradeovate and TradingView or what's going on, but it feels like it's like Project X now, but it feels like every week we've had issues with Tradeovate and TradingView. And these are supposed to be the more reliable firms to use or brokers to use. But I have never, in all of my years of trading, I have never seen this pop up on the chart. Maybe I'm just not looking there, but you've heard, but I'm over on Sierra chart. That also coincides with Ninja Trader as well, because Ninja Trader and Tradeovate are the same. I think, and this should justify me out of the trade, but I might still long it today. If SPY goes and takes a new IB low, I might still long Qs. Might be bad to say, but I think the relative strength is going to hold on Qs. If not, then we can go long on SPY with like a 2-point stop loss on it, so we risk almost nothing. And in that event, I might go long with. The reason I'm not going long now is because it does still have 13 minutes left that it can go and take a low. So I'm at least going to wait for 10:30 to close on SPY. Qs, I don't think is going to go to the IB low. I don't think we're going to invalidate that today. I think it should have a pretty easy move up to 16. The sim volume, I know that, Mark. The Tradeovate put out a announcement that said that they've had such a large influx of volume on sim profits and sim traders and sim accounts that they're having issues handling it. TradingView, maybe it's with them connecting the accounts, but TradingView shouldn't have any issues because they're not linked to any live accounts, because the orders still go through onto Tradeovate when you connect them in the bottom. But it's on everything right now. It's data issue, data issue. Do you have experience trading with Rhythmic? I do not. I do not. I think it's a big conspiracy. I bet Top Step's DDoSing Tradeovate. And Q and ES are moving no problem. Yeah, the issue's not on Tradeovate today. The issue's on TradingView. Steve, what trade did you have open? R2. Is it on Tradeovate or are you linked on TradingView? You just said that it's not closing your trade. Oh, that stinks. The chart on ES or NQ. You're up 70 times 20. That stinks. They might fix it today if you have issues. I don't know, guys. It's kind of playing out. SPY's pushing up now, and Q's is pushing down. We might still get a chance here. We need Q's to drop another $1, 90 cents down. SPY is holding on for dear life. If I take this trade on SPY, our reward is going to be 14 points, and our risk will be 6 points, 5 points. So we could go in with 2 contracts. We'd be risking $50. 4 contracts, we would be risking 100 to make. Oh, that might actually be pretty good. 4 contracts, we'd be risking 100 to make. Oh, it's changing up right now. 16 points now. Also depends if it goes and actually takes a new low, which it's kind of creeping that way. We're going to wait right until 10:30 today. No early entries. Unless Q's goes and taps that 50% and SPY somehow holds. 16 points on the upside would be $320 for a $100 risk on this trade if we hold where we are right now. I might take that. What's that, Freedom Trader? Yeah, the gap is what, I mean, this kind of threw the whole day for a loop. We have a 65% chance of not filling the gap up because it was 0.4 to 0.69. On the same note, we have a 73% chance of reversing back down. Right there, 73. So, I mean, it's playing tug of war both ways. It's kind of skewed. Your mic's echoing a little bit, by the way. Hear my voice. You lose confidence in longs at the moment, seeing the weakness in Russell. On TradeBait, you multiply the contracts you enter by how many contracts, by how many accounts you have. Yes. So I have 5 accounts that I'm trading, 5 accounts that I'm copy trading. So I have it set to, I'm going to take 4 MES if it closes where it is right now. And then our stop loss is going to be literally 3 points. That's the only reason I'm going to take 4. You think the data is suggesting violence? It is. Have you ever tried the IB 30 minutes? I have not. I have not. Congrats on the 30K payout with Apex. You said you were trading for the last 8 years. Have you been profitable, or is it just some years? I've been profitable for the past 6. Past 4, sorry. I've been trading I've been trading since I was 18, so 8 years ago, but when I was 18, 19, a little bit into my 20s, I didn't really trade that seriously. I was kind of a meme trader, looking on Wall Street bets and then entering whatever I saw. And then for the past 6 years is when it's been serious. So 2 years I was unprofitable, and then for the past 4 I've been profitable. But even then, there's still being profitable. There's still several instances over the past couple of years where I've gone on like a 1, 2, even 3 month dry spell where it's been brutal to trade, and it just feels like I'm losing money repeatedly. Correct, streaming nerds. Yeah, my biggest payout before that was a 25K, well, 22,500 from Top Step, a max payout on Top Step, and that was like March of last year or April. I don't remember when it was actually. I don't know the exact date, but it was last year at some point. But you don't need to go and hit 20, 30, 40K payouts every week to maintain. Like, I'm probably, maybe not today. It depends on what the IB wants to give us. But with these my funded futures accounts, I can, if I make another $400, I can take the full balance out, which would be a $10,000 payout. Not going to do that because I'll blow the whole accounts, but you don't need the influencers that you see in the trading space make it think that you need to make like 40,000 a month to survive. There's not really much of a difference between making 10,000 a month and making a 50,000 to 100,000 a month. Like that 30K payout that I got from Apex, that will last my living expenses for the rest of the year. That's why we buy the Toyota and not the Ferrari, so the drive spells don't hurt as much. The dry spells still hurt real bad. Okay, now it's getting a little bounce up. So I will be taking the IB high on SPY. We have 4 minutes left. The reason I'm not entering right now is because that's 4 minutes that we could very easily go and take a new IB low. It's only 7 points away. And that IB low would invalidate the longs before we even have a chance to validate the IB. How long have I been profitable with the IB? For about a year. I started trading the IB last April. And when I first started trading the IB, I was waiting for price to get like 10 points to 20 points away from the high. And I was going in with like 2 to 3 minis. And I was just looking for a 10 to 20 point break, and that was not the way to go about trading the IB. Now I've really settled into looking for an entry at or below 50% line. For today's example, we're going to be risking maybe 5 to 10 points. Probably going to be risking 5 points on this trade, meaning that we can definitely go in If we go in with two MES, that'll be a 50-point risk. If we go in with 375 points, I'm looking to risk maybe 100 on the trade. And then our reward is going to be the IB high breaking, which is 14 points away. So that 14 points with a 5-point risk, I think that is A-okay. Real question, why not just trade your own money? Why even bother with prop accounts? The reason I use the props is because copy trading over 5 or 20 with Apex, making $50 a day on your own live account doesn't really do anything for you. It's a very, even if you're living very cheaply, that's $50 not really going to change anything for you. Scaled over 5 accounts, that's a $250 a day. Scaled over 20 accounts, that's now $1,000 a day. So that's why I copy trade on prop firms. All right, I do want to. It sucks either way with the SPY IB right now. We're not going to be able to take it on Qs because Qs is like 50 points away, maybe 40 points away from the IB, but it's also, we barely missed the IB 50. It was 20 points away, so it wasn't there for the risk reward. But for SPY, we're going to get a positive RR on the trade today. I do want to. This would have been a nice entry to have right here. 6934, but we're looking for 10 points. 10 points up or 10 points down. I believe you can. Yeah, I think you can copy trade 4 accounts, 4 personal accounts. That IB held on for dear life on SPY. This is the size of an IB that I would expect to get during London Open or Asia Open. This is ridiculous. One MES is a $50 risk reward right now, to put it that way. Usually it's half of what Qs is, which Qs is a $200 risk reward for one M and Q today. Just over, actually, $206. It's a 103-point range from 50%. MES is sloppy. 10 points on MES? Yeah. Yes. We're about to get the close. We have a minute left on this. 5K in a personal account, risk 20 cons. Yeah, but it's not the same mentally. 2 minis in a personal account, then you're not really gonna be able to assess the trade the same if you look at the trade. And for today's example, 2 minis, we're risking 10 points. That's, what does that come out to? $400. And that's for a very small, this is an outlier. This is an outlier and a half on SPY right now. I want it to, it's right at 50%. I want it to kind of get a little bit of a pullback. We're definitely going to be going in with at least 10. So it's going to be a 20-point risk reward. But the lower we can get it, the better off we are. There we go. So I will go in with 2 MES and then our stop loss. This is so funny. Our stop loss is 6929 and our take profit is 6949. Long 2 MES off the IB 50. And then we'll go and slap this on here. I'm not going to be adding anything to this trade. I mean, if it fails, it fails, or risk $100. It is what it is. This is one of the worst IBs I've seen on SPY. Stats are still favoring it breaking the upside. We have a 69% chance to go and break the high. Maybe it's because TradingView's having issues today that SPY didn't really move. Stop loss, I say 6929, TP 6949. $6,938. So we do technically have a positive risk reward on this. We have a 1.1 R massive trade. I'm gonna let it run to full TP today. I'm not gonna secure it early. I don't know where the movement went though. We also get rid of, we don't really need London high on there. We don't really need previous day's range on there anymore. That's the trade right there. It kind of sucks that it's so small. It's up 3 points right now. You bother if NQ hits high first? If NQ hits the high first, it should drag SPY up with it. But the high on NQ is 60 cents away too. The high on SPY is 60 cents away. The high on NQ is 60 cents away. One range is 200 points. The other range is 20 points. Kind of funny. Very funny, actually. So we at least should get a nice Ivy remains goated today. How can I gotta figure out, can I remove my mouse? Visual effects. Camera, general. Resolution badge, display informative messages, layouts. I don't want my mouse to show on the screen. Oh, well, you guys can see it flying around. Why did I not enter before? I didn't enter before. I'm assuming you're talking about down here at like 690. I didn't enter when we were at that level because that still had, let's go down to the 1 minute time frame, see when it was. So that still had 14 minutes left on it to go and possibly take a new Ivy low. Meaning that we would have, even if we had longs, the longs would have been invalidated before our stop loss technically hit because we should be targeting Ivy shorts instead of Ivy longs. It's down $15 right now. Don't really want to take it on M and Q because it hasn't pulled far enough away from it yet. We're down 3 points at the moment. If this one ends up being the loss, I will gladly accept that being the loss for the week on the IB. Just wondering how much time do I trade every day? I'm usually in a trade for no more than like 15 minutes each day. Ah. It's about halfway there. We could definitely add another one, and then it would be an immediate stop loss if it goes and hits. It'd be 3 points for a risk. Looks like we're probably going to invalidate the IB low right now, which is, again, A-okay with me if this ends up being the loss for the week. Because this is not really anything terrible for losses. We'll lose 9. What does that come out to? $90 on this. Fees included. And then if it's a hindsight trade and we end up being upset that we took the trade, then we can note that if the IB is as small as it is on SPY for a day like this, then we don't need to enter the trade. I do kind of want to add in, but it looks like it's going to go and take the low right now. If it does, then we're done for the day and we end up taking a loss, which is okay with me. And stop loss hit. Just barely, too. Hit it by 1 point. IB does not remain goated today. I think that's our first loss live on stream with it for a very long time. The last loss I had was on Monday for President's Day, I think. And I shouldn't have even been trading that day. Negative 96. That is just mean, too. Look what it did with the stop loss. Let's drag this out to the right. So that stop loss is just hit by half a point, if even that. M and Q is getting a bounce up right now too. But not going to overtrade off of that. This is a pretty crappy day. Once you see what M and Q does, M and Q is it's technically still in play, but I mean, wait a minute. You got me messed up if I just got stopped out on something that didn't even happen. What just happened there? SPY didn't take the IB low. Is it still intact? Did I just get stopped out on a slippage wick? What? You didn't get stopped out? You didn't get stopped out either? You didn't get stopped? What? Did I just get screwed? What? IB low taken on ES, but I wasn't taken on SPY. I charted on SPY too. What the heck? Oh well. What you gonna do? M and Q would be a 50-point breakup from where it is right now. Pull up ES. ES broke it too. No, actually it didn't. What the hell? I just got scammed. I just got scammed. That's the IB low right there. And there's the IB low. What the heck, man? My first loss with it comes from that. You got me messed up. That's so stupid. Definitely wouldn't mind taking a long on. Could take a 1-to-1 on MNQ. That would put us either break even or down 200 on the day. Decisions. No. I will bite the negative 96. Tip my hat to it. I know. L micros for real. That was. I mean, it's definitely riding the low right now, but that wick didn't even happen. I feel violated. If this goes and takes the IB high, I'm gonna cry. Because that means MES was the only one. I don't even have it down here on the futures tab, but that means MES was the only one that went and took the IB low. SPY still holding the IB. Divergence today. Yeah. You know what? It's okay. It is what it is. Not going to revenge trade because of it. That being said, let's go 5 minis long on MNQ right now. 5 minis on NQ. We got to make that 100 back right now. I'm just kidding. Full port because I lost $100. Wouldn't that be a shame? That's how a lot of people end up screwing their progress. This is going on 6 days of progress on these accounts, 3,544 for the balance. Why would I risk that? Because I took one small loss on a. In hindsight, probably shouldn't even have taken that, but Also, in hindsight, we should still be in the damn trade right now. Re-enter with micro with 20 MES. Yeah, yeah. Stick it to the man. You got me. I thought you were serious. No, no, it's okay. I'll still like the IB for tomorrow. I do. I'm a little upset. I'm more so upset by the fact that we got stopped out on a wick that didn't happen. Especially if it goes and takes the high, I'm gonna freak out. There's a good bounce off 25.3 right there. M and Q is definitely gonna go and take the high. This one's too strong today not to, but chart showing 615. This one's showing 614.60. Spy, 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 spy. Why have you done this to me? Try it again. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Risk 7 points. It's still intact, which is what's pissing me off. That's why I chart on SPY. That should answer everyone's question right there. Why do I chart on SPY? It's okay, Mr. Squeaky. Tomorrow's another day. Yeah, I know. Usually when a loss like that happens, it's best to walk out, speaking from my own experience. Yeah, I'm especially a day like this. This is not a day that you try to put your foot to the pedal and A, recover the loss that you took, or B, try to revenge trade it back, because this is a day that you're just going to end up blowing the accounts. This is identical to our afternoon session from yesterday right now with how small the range is. Man. SPY, why have you done me like this? I hate SPY, Steve. You would have thought that it never hit the stop. It hit with a wick that didn't even happen. I do really want to enter it again. Not gonna lie. Same stop loss or just below that wick. But it's not the smart thing to do. It's not the smart thing to do. We're gonna move on. We're gonna appreciate the day. SPY, you suck. I hit my stop loss, Steve, with a wick that didn't happen. Well, obviously it did happen, but go look at MES on Tradeovate. Unless if this is just my Tradeovate that hit it, that would send me. That'd make me even more upset. Hey, at least it's snowing outside. Terrell will play the 50% to the long side on NQ. Enter longs on MNQ, you mean? And play it to the upside? You could. Oh, MES. I can't believe it. Oh, I still have my order in too. Phew. You think I checked that? That would have got me in short at 6949. I also got stopped because of the wick. MES hit the. Some people are saying MES hit it on their TradingView chart or TradingView chart. Some people are saying it didn't. MES did, but ES didn't. ES hit 693. And now it's going to the high. That sucks. I'm not trying to argue that it didn't hit 6929, but if you go and look at, I'm just saying that it did not hit it on these charts. Yeah, Freedom Trader. Yours didn't hit 6929 either. That was weird. I'm gonna go Salk now. Yours hit Rolo. Project X and Trade of 8 hit my stop loss and MES. Tap 29 on mine, then jumped off of it. Well, at least the day that we do lose, it does something stupid like that. Yeah, and I'm not. Yeah, had we sized with one MES on that, that would have been fine. Even a $96 loss, that is a okay with me. We made on on Monday. We had a really nice. I think it was $160. Yesterday, we obviously didn't get a trade on it, but for a longer run, where this 96 isn't anything, this is fine. Might still work on M and Q, but definitely not going to put any more gas on the table today. Futures is like trading Forex with everybody getting different quotes. I know, it was a very odd exchange right there. But technically, we would still be in it right now. I think it peaked up like $25, which is why yeah. So it peaked up 25. That's why the trailing drawdown kind of sucks too. Peaked up 25 and then flipped to negative 100. So we're technically down 125 on the trade. I cannot believe we just got done dirty like that. I'm going to make sure I X out of the ES chart so I do not go and trade ES on accident. I'm on the 1 minute on this. Can't even trade MGC. MES, you suck. Never touching you again. M&Q may come down to the IB50. That would be nice. I'm all done for the day. I'm not going to take anything else. QQQ shows a 100% chance it breaks high on Wednesdays with today's size, but M&Q shows 66.6%. Which one should we be considered with? I would use Qs. You don't love the IB high trade on an outside day? Many things we could have done differently, but I think walking away with a little paper cut like that is a-okay with me. So if you guys, no one likes losing, obviously, but if you were okay with a loss like this, you can type 2 in chat. If you're never trading the IB again, you go ahead and type 1. I'm never trading the IB again after this. The IB sucks. It's time to change our entire trading strategy, entire trading model. Seems like the most logical day it could lose. Yeah. And again, I'm very pleased. I mean, I wish it won. I'm okay with taking this small of a loss on the IB because what this will do for us moving forward is this will reduce the win rate, which means that we are kind of overdue a win on the IB moving forward, which is kind of nice. Enter on NQ? No. No, we are all done for the day. I traded the IB on AUD USD today instead of any indices, and it worked out. Forever thankful for the wins and losses with the IB. The numbers speak for themselves. Very nice, Pip T. Very, very nice. Just don't go, and I'm going to be reassuring this to myself throughout the day. Don't go and do anything stupid. When am I trading my Apex? I trade them during Asia session. I get to request another payout after hours today, but we'll see if I'm expecting them to reject it because they gave me another violation. I'm telling you, 2 of my MES traded baits through TradeView didn't get stopped out. 2 did. Same chart, same platform. Huh. So you had 4 in total, and 2 of them got stopped and 2 of them didn't? It had to have just flashed down there. That's my only explanation for it. Obviously, we hit the stop loss, otherwise we wouldn't be down 96, but I don't think this was that real of a wick on MES. But just move on. Moving on. Wait for M and Q50. If you wanted to do that, if you wanted to wait for M and Q to go and hit 50 and then take a long there and have the same stop loss and risk reward, go for it. 6929.75 was the IBLO on ES. Yeah, it should have lined up on. This was, granted, there is issues with TradingView today, so maybe that's part of the reason. This was off by 14 cents, which I think is like 2 points on MES. If price was ranging between entry and TP, when do you stop looking for entries at 12 p.m.? No, you still want your entry. If it goes and hits 50% right now, then you're fine to take it. Your stop loss and TP, that's what changes. So you're dependent on hitting it at 615.91 or down to 611. That's your take profit and stop loss. If those hit for today, it could take all the way until 4 o'clock. It could take all the way until 1 o'clock. Could never break today on M and Q. So such is life, my friend. Yeah, it is what it is. Well, thanks for sticking around, guys, even though we just took a loss on it. Do I trade gold during Asia session? I used to, but gold's too risky. It's way too risky. Gold is an instant gratification, which if anyone's seen Eddie trades futures on TikTok, I've been trying to get in contact with him because he's learning from. He will forever be unprofitable if he keeps learning from the people he's trying to learn from. Because if you're a trader starting out, so if anyone knows how I can get in contact with them, I just want to help them. If you're a trader starting out, you do not need to be touching. You should only be trading SPY if you're starting out. But if you go on TikTok, he's live pretty much the same time every night, and I swear to God, I have not seen him take a single win for like 3 weeks. I usually stick around in the stream for like 15, 20 minutes, and there's like 1,400 people in there. I try commenting like, hey, reach out to me. Okay, there we go. The IB low is now taken. Oh, not quite yet, actually. You got the IB50 right there. All right, guys, that will do it from me today. We are cutting out a few minutes early, but I need to get off the charts for my own well-being. Don't want to do anything stupid. All right, I will see all of you guys tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Same time tomorrow. Peace out.